I would like to start by having a disclaimer because we are well aware that the risk involved in generalizing is as dangerous as assuming. Every case is different, so and something that works with one player, it doesn't work with somebody else. So we have to be very perceptive of that. I will share some of my experience and how I reach the Latin players, and how there are the basic steps that I believe they should be taking place in setting it up. In general, it's impossible to develop a program one size fits all for all Latin players in the minor leagues, mainly because of the quantity of variables involved, the uniqueness of each player, and the complexity and the grind of the challenge. Even though there's some common grounds and concepts we share in our teaching, the what, the challenge or the art of our delivery lies on the how, the way we present or introduce the concepts. And also the challenge lies in the player's understanding of the what for, their perception of the usefulness of those concepts. I believe that there are four variables, probably there are many more, but for this presentation, I chose four variables to consider in the development of a program for Latin American players. First, each country has a different idiosyncrasies and customs. In other words, each country has a unique and contrasting accepted ways of behaving and interpreting certain similar situations. And an example for me is like in one of these countries, they teach people that it's not polite to look straight into somebody else's eye. And what I'm trying to do here is please look me in the eye so I know that you're paying attention or you're following me. But for them, I have had some problems, and for them to really reach out and start learning to look up. Second, the level of formal education. We are all aware when the prospect players are identified and recruited by the Buscones and then signed by us at the age of 16, leaving school way too early, lacking key developmental stages in education. Third, family structures and dynamics. They have a profound effect on the development, values, and perception of life of these young players. And for me, one of the things I see a big difference, for example, unfortunately, when you see a player that has only a single parent family, or if they have both parents, it's a huge difference in the way we relate. And finally, is the level of resources available, mainly monetary and social contacts. Monetary mainly by means security, knowing that you have a roof, you have a food, and you have clothing. And social contacts, we're talking about relatives, girlfriends, coaches, teachers, somebody who can have an impact in your life. Strategies for developing mental skills. First, we have to identify where the player is at. We have to go there and start building together from that place. For example, I had a case in this player. I talk about a little short book. This called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. He really liked this stuff, but he couldn't comprehend that much. So he started coming half an hour earlier, and we sat in my office and we read the book line by line. So he understood every step. So I had to go all the way there. And sometimes we have cases like a player has a family problem that's really affecting them emotionally for that day or for that week. So you really have to go there and help him solve that so he can file those things in one direction so he can go and perform when he has to. It's very important to find out. We have to be very sensitive where they are at. Only then we can start to develop a plan of action to the specific needs and reality of each player. Whatever plan is decided upon, it must be an interdisciplinary effort, which should include not only the specific position baseball coach, but also must include the athletic trainers, strength coaches, mental skill coaches, nutritionists, and if available, English and acculturation teachers. Additionally, the program has to be personalized. You have to discover what resources the player has, such as athletic abilities, relationships, their support system, and educational level. Also, we have to learn about their hidden rules, idiosyncrasies, personal values, and goals. And also, I strongly believe that it has to be developmental in nature, because one of the most gratifying aspects of my work is to watch how they learn, grow, and mature every year, how they progress and improve on and off the field. Sometimes we start laughing with the players because I tell them something and they say, oh, I got it. See, but I told you that 3 months ago or last year. And yeah, but I was not ready. So for me, that's one of the best part of the job, to see them moving forward. I think it's also very important to know how they think. And so I think that the significance of their mindset for that, so we're to teach to have the appropriate mindset. Your mindset is the belief you have in how the world works. Mindsets are powerful because they have an effect in how you think, feel, and act. There are two main types of mindsets that I think they're very relevant for our players. The first one is the scarcity mindset. They perceive life as having a limited quantity of something or only so much of the desired item. It focuses on short-term and on a limited number of options and choices available. The abundance mindset flows out of personal sense of confidence and security. It focuses on the long term or in the big picture. It identifies several possibilities, choices, and alternative paths. It's kind of similar to being optimistic or pessimistic or having the right positive attitude. I think it's very important that we are aware of that. Going back to the way I do what I'm learning that I'm more effective with Latin American players is, I read years ago that they say that if you're simple, you can be a genius. You have to be a genius to be simple. So simplicity is the key. I like to provide practical, useful, and down-to-earth concepts, not only based on theories or abstract concepts. We're dealing with youngsters that have around a 6th grade reading and writing level. Some of them much lower than that, and some much more than that. So we have a broad spectrum, and we need to become very aware of that. When relevant, I use analogies, provide examples, use simple words and storytelling, and provide comparisons and similitudes. I use gestures. When speaking, I use my hands and special sounds. Anything that will help them get my point across, and have the player experience an aha moment. For instance, I use sounds like when you release the fastball, you go shh, or the curveball, or when you bat, the clack. All those things that are very meaningful to them, and it's a place where they can go to that sensation they like to experience. Some players take results too personal. Difference between process and results. If you focus on the process, results will follow. Most of the problems I deal with in my job is how they interpret and how they explain their results. I think there you have a huge information possible of why they play and what are the things that motivate them to come back and face the grind. I think you have to be egoless and depersonalize and create a distance between yourself and the situation or the speed of the game. You have to have it detached. If you have the problem right here in front of you, you don't see it. You have to be able to step out. You have to process or review the experience in order to grow. Lessons learned from each outing can allow you to improve, but you have to reflect. After you have experience, you can reflect with your coach about the experience so you can be better prepared for the next time around. Positive failures, very important to fail. I think for me, the key is the importance of making new mistakes. If a player is making no mistakes, for me, the competition is really bad, or you are very comfortable, you're in your comfort zone. If you make the same mistake, I think you're stuck somewhere, and we need to do something different in order for you to start moving forward again. But if you make new mistakes, that's telling me that you're taking risks and you're trying new things and you are moving forward. Another aspect is that sometimes they don't know they have the solution within them. In most cases, they're much smarter than they think, and they have the solution within themselves, but they have difficulties explaining or retrieving that information. Several times, players surprise me with the most appropriate answers or solutions to the situation. They have great insights. So we have to listen and assist them in reframing those ideas and intuitions. For example, once a player told me freedom, libertad, when describing a feeling of a swing, more specifically about the tension he had in his shoulders. He was really uptight and his movements were very robotic. So we did some relaxation, some visualization, and then I gave him a bat and he swung so smooth. It was so natural. I can see him. And he smiled, he had big eyes, and he looked at me and said, "What did you feel?" And he said, "Freedom." I said, "Where?" "On my shoulders." And it was really neat. I always remember that. So they have the experience. We really have to provide the context and for them to be able to retrieve that information. I use a lot of analogies. For example, two cases. Once I was working with this pitcher that he was trying to do too much to demonstrate how good he was to his coach. He was going 100 miles an hour. We talk about it and have no success. So I asked him if he have seen the waves at the beach. And he looked at me kind of strange. Says, "Yeah, I see the wave. He goes up first. And when he's ready, gathers the timing, the momentum, he breaks down into shore." So I want you to feel, so he started feeling that he was going up. And when he was ready, within that timing, he broke into his target. It really helped him. Another rushing pitcher that I had, I asked him to imagine a leaf falling into a happy, bubbly small creek. When the leaf then the leaf becomes part of the water and moves as an intricate part of the water. So yes, it flows, it goes with it. And one of the interesting things that when I do a lot of storytelling or analogies in this case, you never know who's going to have a click, an aha moment with that information. And lo and behold, it was so funny because after my presentation, this pitcher came and asked me, "Hey, it's so funny what you said because I love behind my house in my country, there's a little creek and I love to go there and sit down and watch the water, how it moves, stuff like that." So, and this guy is always, he talks fast, he walks fast, he does everything so fast. So that really sets him at peace. So right now we see each other and we go like that, and he knows that he's part of the water going slow. Don't push the river, it flows by itself. So his timing has changed dramatically over the last year. Some final words that I think are very important. As coaches or educators that we are, we have to be examples or role models to be imitated and create a welcoming support system, be active listeners, provide resources and opportunities for them to learn and grow. And as a consequence, and hopefully, they will increase their chances in reaching their goals successfully. That's all we can do. But remember, one person can have a huge impact and difference in somebody's life. Most successful persons that come from difficult backgrounds, they say that one person, a relative, a teacher, a coach, changed their lives forever because they believe in them. an old friend of mine, Albert Einstein. He had three beautiful quotes that I think they're so relevant to this presentation. First one is, imagination is more important than knowledge. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And madness is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I think it's very important that we use information like this to get to our future stars. Thank you.